This is generally what happens when you increase the amount of employees that you have, that you're inherently going to have an increase of innovation. My point is, when we just look at women and put all of the factors aside and we say, what do these women have impact on successfulness of a company?
Mhm.
There is neither a positive or negative.
Actually, your study that you just sent me doesn't even demonstrate at all what you thought it does. Not even close. Did you even read this at all? So what this says here is that the one you just sent me, new research shows the more women on a company's board, the more market value is lost. You realize this actually comes from sexism. It's not women causing this problem, right? So what's up, man? You wanted to talk to me about cherry picking data? Are you like a Nick Fuentes simp?
I'm not a Fuentes simp. No, I think you were kind of dishonest and cherry picking data in your debate with Fuentes.
Which data do you think I was cherry picking?
The diversity causes innovation,
Oh
and that
no!
women.
Do you really want to challenge me on that one?
Yeah, I just
Because I have a fuck ton of studies on that.
Yeah, so do I. So like I don't see the point. I think that there's this one meta-analysis I was looking at the other day, and it basically said that let me get the exact quote. I'll send you the study too. It said that, quote, these results indicate that the mere representation of females on corporate boards is not related to firm financial performance if other factors are not considered. So basically, when it comes to what I'm looking at is that basically it seems to be a correlation causation type of thing when we say that the more innovative businesses the more innovative businesses have like more female corporate boards. I doubt that.
Well, it's not just more female corporate boards. It's that there's more diversity in general. The one study that I cited was the one with more female. Sorry, I got distracted by something in chat. Was more female executives, but there's also a lot on just more diversity in general. A lot of this came from my original debate about diversity in the military. And that's because when you have a large group of people that have different backgrounds, different experiences, you have a bigger pool to drag or to gauge for information.
Well, I have data that contradicts that too, but I thought since we were specifically...
Why don't you send me the two studies that you have that you think contradict this?
Okay, I'll give it a second. But yeah, I think that when we're talking about... I thought we were talking about like... here's the thing about women, and here's something about diversity. And the study about diversity basically found that only around 0.16% of the variance in innovation is due to the variance in boardroom diversity. And here's a study right here.
Following a systematic literature search, data from 20 studies. Okay. On average, the board consists of 8 members, and female participation was low. Half of the 20 studies were based on data from developing countries and 62% from higher income countries. Okay. So percentage of females on corporate boards and firm performance was small and non-significant. Similar small effect sizes were observed when comparing studies based on developing versus developed countries and higher versus lower income countries. The mean board size was not related to the effect sizes in the studies. These results indicate that the mere representation of females on corporate boards is not related to firm financial performance if other factors are not considered. Okay, I wonder what the other factors are that they're talking about. Let's see.
It doesn't. I don't even think it mentions it. I think the study just looks at directly. It kind of takes a more simplistic approach, but all it does is that it looks at, does more females on corporate boards cause more firm like improvement or more firm success? And they basically found that there's no correlation between more females in corporate boards.
No, I know. I'm reading it right here on stream. We're looking at it. The results of the current meta-analysis show that a higher representation of females on corporate boards is neither related to a decrease nor to an increase in firm financial performance, confirming findings from a similar meta-analysis on this topic. These results do not support the business case for diversity, which suggests that diversity is associated with increased performance. Well, yeah, I mean, it's quite possible that at what this study found did show that there was not really much of an effect there. But again, it's not just female executives. It's also diversity in general. But I guess you sent me this one too on the diversity.
I'm just gonna push back on this. I'm not here to talk about like ethnic diversity or anything. I'm here specifically to talk about like gender roles and stuff like that because your debate with Fuentes was specifically about if there's a war on men.
Okay, wait, what is the second thing you sent me? Is this the same
Because
study?
you brought up, no, that's not the same study. You brought up ethnic diversity. I said I have a refutation to that too, but I'm not here to talk about diversity in general. I'm here to talk about specifically gender roles.
Wait. The results show that there is indeed a positive and statistically significant association between board diversity and firm innovation. This association is driven more by cognitive diversity of the board members than by demographic diversity. Yeah, but if you have demographic diversity, you're also going to then have cognitive diversity. That's like a given. So the study that you sent me, the second one at least, does show that there is a benefit from having diversity.
Well, how so do you see how much the benefit actually is though? It's less.
I don't know. This is the study you sent me, my dude.
No, it is. Like if you keep reading, it shows like how much the benefit actually is, and it's like half of a percentage point. Like it's very insignificant.
Then why did
Like
you send this to me?
because you're saying that like it like has like some major benefit, but like the innovation that's caused merely just by ethnic diversity is like less than a half of a percentage point. I'm saying that it's just not that significant for just me subjectively to even like consider it as a like a good thing. But if we're gonna hold on, listen to me.
Wait, no, wait, because I'm going to respond to this really quickly because this study you sent me doesn't actually demonstrate what you think it does. The other one, props to you. This the +1 thing, it does seem to suggest that there wasn't much of a benefit in their study, one of the 20 studies, with just having women on the board. It didn't seem to have a negative or a positive effect. So props to you there. That's what that study did find. But the second one you sent me, it literally says, instead of focusing on selecting board members based on demographic diversity, selection should be made based on the interplay of the expertise, and background demographic characteristics of the potential candidates. So if we're talking about different experiences, that is something you gain from diversity. Different expertise is something you gain from diversity. And also demographic characteristics of the potential candidate is also relevant here, according to the study you sent me. So there is actually a positive and statistically significant association between board diversity and firm innovation.
I think I've already responded to that. I already told you.
But this is the study you sent me.
No, yeah, and I responded to what you just said. I said that first of all, what I sent you was specifically, I think, about just diversity in general and firm innovation. What I found is that the impacts of diversity that cause innovation is not. It's like it says that like it's statistically significant, but if you look at like the percentage of how much that causes an increase in innovation, just subjectively, I would not consider that important. But like I already told you this, I'm here to talk. Hold on, no, stop interrupting me.
Well, you're going on for a while now.
No, I'm not. I just talk slow. I'm not even going that. I just talk pretty slow. I can't talk that fast. I'm not hyped up on Adderall. But when it comes to when it comes to women on corporate boards specifically, because I'm here to talk about gender roles. I'm not just here to talk about diversity, because your debate with Fuentes was about war on men, right? When it comes to women on corporate boards, there's not a positive or negative effect on boards, and this is kind of my problem, because you were making this case that to Fuentes that if there's more women, then this will increase the amount of innovation. At least that's what I.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the study you sent me here from +1 basically showed that like if you just plop women here, it's not going to have a negative or a positive effect. I would agree with that. Yeah. It also matters how you train the person, how you introduce them to the job. This was literally the point that I made with John Doyle, that you don't just grab random women, stick them in the job or stick them in the military, and then just, oh, well, women here, therefore innovation benefits. That's obviously not how it works. But
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, you've talked now. I need to respond to you, okay? That's like addressing rambling. I am not. That is my response to the +1 study. But the other one you sent me, Emerald Insight, I'm not sure why you sent this to me, because now you're trying to argue against it. You're saying that
I'm not trying to argue against it.
Why is it that the study you sent me saying that there is a positive and statistically significant association between board diversity and firm innovation? More by cognitive diversity. Somebody in chat said, "Oh, what? Isn't everybody equal? How can that lead to more cognitive diversity?" Every single person has diversity in their cognition and how they think about things and how they address the world. Of course.
Okay, so what the second study that I sent you, what it showed is that while it has a positive impact, the positive impact is just not that big. And it's like I already told you, the percentage is like a half of a percentage point of how much it actually increases diversity.
Doesn't even show percentage.
No, stop, please, just stop.
But no, you're saying something that is not true. You're saying it's a half a percentage point. Where in this study is it showing that? Maybe I'm overlooking it.
Let me get the screenshot. Give me a second. You're going like the second study had nothing to do with like an overall point, but
then why did you send it to me?
Just to try to just show you.
Just show me that I was what?
Just like to show you like where I'm trying to come from. I just think that like
right, diversity. Someone's also said, and that's tied to ethnicity? Okay. No, not necessarily. What it is tied to, though, is different experiences and different ways in which you grow up, which can be linked to diversity and gender diversity. That's why, for example, I have this study here, which shows that the studying of effect of gender diversity on the top firms in Standard and Poor's hold on, let me see what this says. They also measured the firm's innovation intensity through the ratio of research and development expenses to assets. They found that companies that prioritized innovation saw greater financial gains when women were part of the top leadership ranks. Now, here's why that is important. It's not like, take a woman and stick her there and therefore a company gets better, whoop-de-doo. It's that when you have different types of people, whether you have different genders, different sexualities, different ethnicities, you are creating a larger pool of experiences to gauge from, and that is valuable. This is why I have this written down as well. How diversity, equity, and inclusion promote business innovation.
Connor, are you responding to me or like... I'm confused because like I think it's common sense if you expand the amount of workers that you have in your business, you're probably going to have more innovation.
No, they innovate more so when they have diversity, whether that is sexual disorder or disorder. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit foggy right now. I don't think if
they're disabled, they're going to have that much.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to respond to like everything you're sending me here at once. So it's not you benefit because you have people who are different. They've had different life experiences. This is why studies also show that companies benefit more when they have diversity as opposed to companies that lack in diversity. Because when you have people who are virtually all the same, whether it's how they look, whether it's how any of that, it creates a form of groupthink. It's not that everybody does in fact think alike. It's not that every white guy thinks the same, but it's that if you have a firm that's primarily just white guys, that actually creates a perception of, well, this guy probably agrees with me. That's why having diversity is also valuable. And lastly, the thing you just sent me here, it says it does indeed have a small but statistically significant. So just if it's small isn't actually that important. What matters is if it's statistically significant, which it is.
I don't think 0.04% is significant. It's statistically significant, but basically
they said it was in the study you sent me. So again, if you're going to argue against you're arguing against the study you just sent me, dude.
Okay, so no, I'm not. I think in a lot of studies, what happens is when you study something that kind of goes against like the popular opinion in society, what you see in a lot of studies is that they'll phrase things a certain way. So like when they say statistically significant, I just don't understand how a 0.04% increase would be statistically significant in the slightest.
That's your problem right there. Is that you don't understand.
No.
You're not a sociologist, and neither am I. That's why we take what the study says.
Frankly, I don't care about sociology. But my point is this.
Obviously.
I want to make something clear here to you is that the whole reason that I'm pushing back on this diversity thing is, and I think it's common sense, is that if you have like more people spousing different opinions, then you're going to get like different fault. My whole contention here is that when you were talking about like female people on like corporate boards and they're females, this will increase innovation or something like that. I disagree with that. And the first study that I sent that pretty much says is that there's no negative or positive correlation between women on corporate boards and a firm's successfulness.
Could I address that for a minute? Because even if that were true, which will, because the study found that study found that. So, okay, then that's still not at all defending Nick Fuentes' position, because
I'm not here to defend Nick Fuentes.
Well, in general, if there's no difference, then there's no reason to not hire women.
I agree with you. I believe in like a meritocracy. If you're more fit to have a job, then you should like get that job, right? My contention here is like when you make like this business case for diversity and you make an argument that like women or more black people or more, immigrants or something like that will cause more innovation. I think like Harvard Business Review like wrote like a whole like article on this, and basically when a business starts promoting like this message that like they're gonna hire you because of diversity, and the reason why they're hiring you because of diversity is that it will help them out. It will probably like decrease a worker's, I don't know like the exact word to put it, but I would feel like it would dehumanize, and they found this too, it would dehumanize a worker because they know they're getting hired because of like their sex or something.
You're right,
because
actually. Yeah, and that's why the studies that I'm citing here, for one, this is How Diversity Can Drive Innovation from Harvard Business Review, which actually showed that employees at companies are 45% likelier to report that their firm's market share grew, and that's correlated with the two-dimensional form of diversity. That's not, hey, you're black, why don't you come work at our company, LOL. That's actually making sure that this person is hired based on their qualifications. But if they are qualified and they also are a minority or a woman, they bring something different to the table. This is just a fact of the matter that, unfortunately, if you have more people who look alike, then it's going to lead to a form of groupthink. Again, it doesn't mean that they all think the same, but it does mean that they will begin to come under the impression that they do all agree or all think the same.
You're just repeating yourself here. I don't even think I've disagreed with this. My whole contention is that when you throw women on a corporate board, you're not going to get an increase of innovation. That's my entire point.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
No.
Okay, right.
If you throw women on the board, see how you're wording that? Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah,
again, if you pick up random fucking women and throw them on the board, it's not going to help. But if you have people who are qualified and they also happen to be women, they will bring something different to the table, and that is correlated with more growth in that firm.
Okay, but you understand, though, it's not just because that they're women, though, right?
It's not just because they're women, but the fact that they are women means that they have different experiences. They will bring something different to the table, and that's valuable.
I think this is like business common sense. Like when you hire more people, you're going to get different people who have different opinions. I think this is like common sense. I don't even think anyone's arguing this with you. My whole point is that when you start saying that that like more gender diversity will inherently lead to a firm's successfulness because of the gender diversity, not because of like different opinions and because they're qualified, not just because that they're different genders, that's where I have a problem, because that's just empirically not true.
Okay, so can I read this little blurb to you? In this research, which rests on a nationally representative survey of 1,800 professionals, 40 case studies, so double the amount in the study that you sent me, and numerous focus groups and interviews, we scrutinized two kinds of diversity, inherent and acquired, which is exactly what I'm saying. Inherent diversity involves traits you are born with, such as gender, ethnicity, and sexual orientation. Acquired diversity involves traits you gain from experience, working in another country. And for example, if you are a woman, you might bring something to the table in regards to how do we reach more female shoppers. That's something that you can bring to expand your firm's ability to continue to grow, essentially. So by correlating diversity in leadership with market outcomes as reported, we learned that companies with the two-dimensional form of diversity out-innovate and outperform others.
Yeah, but
Employees at these companies sorry, go ahead.
No, I think my whole problem here with this is that you're saying that they're more innovative specifically because it's women, and that's just not the case. The reason why they're more innovative is because you have people who are just overall better at because this is how like a meritocracy works.
I don't
it's
think
because when you have
either I'm not making myself clear or you're not understanding. Let me try this again.
I don't think you're making yourself clear. It's like, well, all I'm getting
all right,
here is that
I will break this down very slowly. So the fact of the matter is, let's say, hypothetically, you have a firm that is primarily dominated by white men, which is pretty common nowadays. Unfortunately, and this has been demonstrated in the military.
Okay, sure. That's not true.
Excuse me?
That's just not true.
What isn't?
That it's like more common nowadays for a white man
it's
to
not
be filled
more
with
common
business.
nowadays, but it's still fairly common nowadays. That's all
That's
I'm
what
saying.
you said. It's well, then you. Okay,
Maybe I got
then
it wrong. Okay, look, fine. That's irrelevant to my point. Hypothetically, let's say you have a firm that is primarily dominated by white men. That means that you will now sooner or later, become under the impression that you think alike. That leads to groupthink, and that reduces innovation. This has been demonstrated already in the military, so I know that it also can apply to any kind of business firm. This is like why I always say when you have a large group of people working towards a common goal, the diversity has a beneficial role. No, it's not just because of the diversity, but the diversity brings something valuable that you otherwise would not get if it was just a group of people that weren't as diverse. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but my whole contention here is that the innovation is because like these people are black or just because they're women. The reason why there's more innovation is because like there's just different people, and
Yes.
it has to do with hold on. It has to do with like different experiences and different qualifications. It has nothing to do with just these people being a woman or these people being black.
It's not just because they're a woman or just because they're black, but if somebody is black or if somebody is a woman, they are more likely to have experiences that otherwise some people at that company might not have. Everybody has unique experiences, but racial minorities have more similarity in their unique experiences. This again, I will read this from you briefly from this article by Greater. Then I'm going to do it for the fucking audience, okay? From berkeley.edu, how diversity makes us smarter, okay? We put together 3 persons, some consisting of all white members, other with 2 whites and 1 non-white member, and had them perform the murder mystery exercise. It sounds cheesy, but this is actually a very good study. To find out who committed the murder, the group members would have to share all the information. The groups with racial diversity significantly outperformed the groups with no racial diversity. Being with similar others leads us to think we all hold the same information and share the same perspective. This perspective, which stopped the all-white groups from effectively processing the information, is what hinders creativity and innovation. So it's not just because they're women, but it's the diversity that they bring to the table that is valuable. I feel like I've said this now like 5 times.
Well, I think I've already clarified my point too here, and also I would like to ask a couple of questions about that study. Is there any proof that the reason why these white people didn't do as well was because they were white? And was there any proof that the reason why like the ethnic mixed group did better because they were an ethnic mix?
This would be just as applicable if it was a group of all black people versus another group that was diverse. It is not because they are.
I don't think it is though. I think you're just making I think you're just looking at something at face value, and I think that it has. I don't think you can like prove that the group did better because they were more ethnically diverse.
Okay. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this, but
no,
if the group here was made up of all black people and they lacked diversity in that sense, they most likely would not have done as well either. It's not because they're white guys. It's not because they're black guys. It's the overall lack of diversity that leads to less innovation because of what I just read, again, from berkeley.edu, showing that when you look similar, being with similar others, it leads you to think that you hold similar information and similar perspectives, even if that's not the case. Again, you don't. Not all black people think alike. Not all white people think alike. But if you are with similar others, you are more likely to perceive that you do think alike. Therefore, it hinders innovation.
No, I actually disagree with that. But what I think my whole point here, this, and I think I've made this specifically clear to you because you keep going off on fucking racial minorities and shit, is that the whole entire point of this, and you keep going off with like about like ethnic diversity and like whatnot. It has nothing to do with why I even came to call.
But that's
My
part of
whole
it.
point. No, it's not part of it. My whole point is that when it comes to gender roles and when it comes to women on corporate boards, I'm making this point, and we're just going to move along with this because I have other things to talk to you about. When you hire a woman, and there is an increase of innovation, the study that I sent you shows you this, and when it comes to a firm's successfulness, there was no correlation with the firm's successfulness and the amount of women that they had on their corporate board.
I understand that. That's
fine,
this is
fine,
what
fine.
happens with research, right? You're going to have some studies that find things differently. That's why you're looking at just one study. You're clinging to like this one study. I have multiple studies. I have multiple pieces of research that include not only ethnic diversity, but also diversity in regards to males and females, women and men, just like what you're talking about. So again, it's not just one single study. People get mad at me for doing this myself. They say, Hunter's just using one study and thinks he fucking won the argument. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing up multiple different studies that all prove, or excuse me, all point to the same conclusion.
Well, I'm not just looking at one study. I have this I have a meta-analysis. And I think I also have a couple of other studies too that go ahead and prove my point. But anyway, what am I hold on, I'm trying to think of something because I'm like reading something right now, and I've already made my point, and I think you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you made your point. Oh, well, that's not true. I think that you said your point, but I do not think that you actually substantiated your point.
How so?
You sent me two studies. One that did back up what you said, which simply found a neutral result in regards to women on the board of directors in firms, and another which found a positive, statistically significant effect with women on boards of firms. So you sent me one study. I have multiple studies, and then the other study that you sent me actually proved my point, not yours.
I don't think it proves your point at all. But I mean, I don't know if you want to have like this study like dick off if you want. I think what I'm saying is that, and you've already agreed with me on this, is that just because you hire more women does not mean that that does not correlate with a firm's successfulness rate.
God.
Okay, and I've already made that point.
Oh my God.
And I want to get on to something else now, because you said something that I thought was particularly wrong, in the debate with Nick.
I don't think that you okay, yeah, and at this point you're right. We would just be looping because you keep on saying the exact same thing. It's not just because they're women. I know. I already fucking acknowledged that.
Okay, thank you.
But it's not. It's also not. It also doesn't have any relevance. Or excuse me, you cannot also argue that there's no relevance to having women there either.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. My whole point, goddamn, my entire point is that when you go around and you say that women cause more innovation or successfulness, it's just not true. It's a lot more nuanced to this, and I still think there's an issue with a correlation and causation. But we're talking in circles at this point.
Because you don't understand. This is the same fucking thing. No, this is the same thing that I said to Nick Fuentes. You cannot prove causation when it comes to social studies. That's just a fact of the matter. You will never be able to prove causation when it comes to social studies. But you know what? The murder mystery study that I gave you was actually the closest study that we have to almost suggesting a causal link between diversity and innovation and benefits from that diversity.
Yeah, I just don't see it, and that has nothing to do with women at all. But
because it's not just women. It's not. My point is not like purely women. It's that diversity
my
as
whole
a
point
whole
is,
has benefits, dude.
I'm not fucking arguing diversity. I'm arguing women because we're talking about gender roles, and you keep trying to obfuscate with this vague idea of diversity.
No, when I'm referring to diversity, I'm talking about diversity as a whole. I'm not just talking about women. I'm not just talking about ethnicities. I'm talking about diversity as a whole. Usually it means women and ethnic diversities. The thing is that there aren't very many studies done that only look at the women. Okay, usually it is a broader thing that they look at, assessing just diversity's effect on innovation in general.
Yeah, well, I'm looking just at women because when I DM'd you, I told you I wanted to talk about gender roles. I think I said that at least. And so when I'm talking specifically about women, and you start talking about like this broad idea of diversity, I just don't like that because I came to talk to you specifically about.
But I also addressed what you said about the women as well, because I read you the Harvard Business Study thing, which did talk about women by correlating diversity and leadership. Hold on. Let me make sure I was right about saying this was women. I don't actually remember if this one was women or if it was minorities in general. Oh, yeah. Without diverse leadership, women are 20% less likely than straight white men to win endorsements for their ideas. Okay.
I gotta ask a question. Would you, if I provided you evidence, would you concede to me that empirically there's evidence to support that women might actually negatively affect a firm successfulness?
The thing is that I don't really have a lot of studies on hand right now, and I'm going to get accused of Googling if I try to do otherwise, but I don't have a lot of studies on hand with just women. The study that I cited is one of them.
I do because I came to talk to you specifically about women, and I wanted to talk to you about gender roles, and I wanted to talk to you about the crisis of a rejection of tradition and an embracement of liberalism in our society. Now that negatively affects both men and women. But you went off on a tangent about this broad idea of diversity.
Okay, I have one here about just women. Okay. So I already read this again, but this was in the a group designed to reflect the overall U.S. equity market. They measured the firm's innovation intensity through the ratio of research and development expenses to assets. They found that companies that prioritized innovation saw greater financial gains when women were part of the top leadership ranks.
Yeah, but can you prove it was because that they were women?
Your study couldn't prove that it was or wasn't either. It's correlation, not causation.
Whoa, point. Mate, that's the point, is that when you hire women, right, there's no positive or negative effect on a causal increase of innovation. You can't prove that. That's my whole point, is that, yeah, you can say that, like, oh, these successful firms have more women and they have more innovation. But my point is, though, is that when you look specifically looking at, like I sent you that first study, specifically looking at what is the causation between women increasing innovation.
Correlation, not causation, but yeah, I'm with you.
Correlation. There's no evidence that it's specifically because they're women, and that is the point that I'm trying to
I'm getting a headache right now because you're not understanding this.
You're not understanding
No, if it is a social science, then you are not able to ever demonstrate causation. Do you understand that fact? Yes or no, do you understand that fact?
Do you understand that you cannot prove that women cause more innovation?
Yes or no, do you understand that there is a difference between causation and correlation, and that you cannot prove causation in social studies?
You cannot prove that there's cause. No, I actually kind of reject that.
You think that you can prove causation with social studies?
What do you mean by this? I mean, what do you mean by social studies?
What the type of studies we're talking about right now?
What, like the effect that something has on society?
Yes, all you can look at is correlation. The higher level of correlation, the more reasonable it
Okay, sure.
becomes to
I'll even
go with
concede
that
this. Okay, fine.
conclusion.
I'll concede this. Okay, I'll concede this. But when you look at a woman, specifically when you just look at women and you put aside all the other factors and you just specifically look at women's impactfulness on innovation, like the study that I sent you did, we see no positive or negative increase on innovation. It stays as a neutral rate, the same way that you would see if it was men adding men or just well, you get my point. My point is that when we add women and we look at what women's impact on innovation is, specifically because they are women, we see no increase or decrease, or no negative or positive impact on innovation. Now, I want to get to other points that I
No,
have to
you
bring
keep
up.
wanting to move off of this, but we're not going to, because I have
Why
studies
you
that show the complete opposite, that show a benefit, a correlative benefit from having women on those boards. And mine didn't just look at 20 studies. Mine looked at over 300 public companies across a range of industries across the entire fucking world. That's the study I cited to Nick Fuentes.
Let me show you this. Hold on.
Companies in the top quartile for gender diversity are 15% more likely to have financial returns above their respective national industry medians. Again, is this because you took somebody who has long hair and wears a dress and stuck them there? No. However, when you have diversity, including diversity in regards to women and men, then you bring different ideas to the table, you avoid groupthink, therefore you strive closer to innovation. Why is this so hard for you to understand?
Oh my God, because the point is, though, is that when you look at women and you look at when you add them to a corporate board, and we put aside all the other factors and we just look at women, there is no negative or positive increase in innovation. Also, I think it's
According
funny.
to your one study.
No, shut up, hold on. No, shut up, be quiet. Because I think it's funny that you said that my study doesn't look at just 20 studies. My study looks at 300 companies. Yeah, my study looked at 3,000 companies. It was a meta-analysis.
Yours looked at 3,000 companies, really?
Yeah,
if it did, then I will go ahead and I will acknowledge that right away.
No, yeah, it literally says following a systematic literature search, data from where'd it go? Data from 20 studies on 3,097 companies published in peer-reviewed academic journals were included in the meta-analysis.
Hold on. Okay, right here. Data from 20 studies on 3,097 companies published in peer-reviewed academic journals were included in the meta-analysis. On 3,097 companies. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and concede that. Maybe you had 3,000 companies here. Sure. But again, this also looked at businesses that were in developing countries, not in fully developed countries. Mine looked at companies that were only in the developed world, which again is also relevant. That matters there. And so I don't know, like, this is the problem here, is that, you have your study, I have my study, I have way more studies that suggest that women benefit innovation. There's no study suggesting that women harm innovation. At best, your study says it's neutral. So I'm not saying that was your point, dude. I'm just I'm explaining this, okay? So
how would you feel if I sent a study that not only just looked at innovation, but it looked at something like market value, and it said that women on corporate boards has a negative impact on market value?
I don't know. It's possible that maybe women in that study or that company did have a negative effect on it. We would have to look at it in its entirety. How was the diversity implemented? Why was the diversity put there? Were they just hired as a token woman? Because that certainly would not be a good idea. That's in fact not recommended. But again, like, you're also continuously ignoring the fact that the study you sent me, the second study you sent me, found that there was a positive and statistically significant association between board diversity. And your thing, by the way, says that board diversity also included gender.
Yeah, I don't even think I disagree with this. I think my whole point was the diversity of ideas is what causes the innovation. It is not just because these people are black, women, white, etc. It's because you have different people working, and it's due to their this is generally what happens when you increase the amount of employees that you have, that you're inherently going to have an increase of innovation. My point is, when we just look at women and put all of the factors aside and we say, what do these women have impact on successfulness of a company,
Mm-hmm.
there is neither a positive or negative.
Actually, your study that you just sent me doesn't even demonstrate at all what you thought it does. Not even close.
Which,
Did you even read this at all? So what
which
this
one?
says here is that the one you just sent me, new research shows the more women on a company's board, the more market value is lost. You realize this actually comes from sexism. It's not women causing this problem, right?
Yeah, I agree.
The study examines investor responses to board diversity and finds that one additional woman on the board results in a 2.3% decrease in the company's market value. It says firms that increase board diversity suffer a decrease in market value. Let's see. If investors believe that female board members have been appointed to satisfy a preference for diversity, then by increasing board diversity, a firm unintentionally signals a weaker commitment to shareholder value than a firm with a non-diverse board. This is literally supporting what I just fucking said, which is that you need to implement that diversity properly. And that's why the studies that I have demonstrate when that diversity is implemented properly. When you have women in executive positions, you're not just sticking them there because of some dumb quota, then the investments, the market share, the value of your company increases. So I don't know why do you keep sending studies that disprove completely what you're saying?
Well, first of all, I don't like the condescendingness and I don't like the gaslighting. And second of all,
I'm not gaslighting you. I'm telling you what literally just happened here.
That is not literally what just happened. Oh, literally? Did it? Literally, not metaphor. Anyway,
I don't like the condescendingness. Please stop that.
Yeah, well, I mean, anyways, though, the point is that I made this point in the beginning that when you just hire for diversity, it will not have a good impact.
I know.
Okay, then.
I've literally been saying this the entire fucking time.
I've said it before.
I've been saying the entire time that if you just plop a woman there, that's not going to benefit anything. You have to implement the diversity properly. But when you do implement that diversity properly, you benefit the fucking company.
When you hire qualified people, that's going to benefit the company. I don't even think I ever disagree with you with that. My entire point is that when you put women and you just looked at the fact that they're women, this has no negative or positive impact on a firm's successfulness rate. Okay, that's the entire point.
According to your one study.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, I want to, because we've been talking for 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and I actually have another debate to get to. I don't understand why you keep on sending me studies that are completely disproving what you're arguing. Like, the paper suggests that over time, just as greater exposure to female leaders has been shown to reduce stereotype bias, the increase in female board appointments should likewise decrease the perception that firms select directors for any reason other than their qualifications.
Yeah,
hold on. Did you read the very bottom? There is strong evidence that Okay, well, I'm going to read it now to stream because I know you don't want me to read it. There is.
I know what it says.
Shh, be quiet. Hey, buddy, shut the fuck up. There is strong evidence that diverse and inclusive teams make better decisions faster, leading to improved outcomes. Society and businesses are making slow but steady progress in breaking down barriers and embracing the rich value that comes with greater diversity and inclusion. Why are you sending me this shit, dude?
Hunter, I already conceded to you two things, and I don't know why we're even arguing this. I already conceded that when it comes to diversity, there's going to be an increase of innovation because there's different ideas, and this is what happens when you increase the amount of employees that you hire. My point is when you look at specifically because they are women, this has no impact, a positive or negative increase. I even think when I sent you this study, I said that it conceded that the study even concedes the fact that there's an increase in innovation when you have more diversity. But anyways, I think you understand the point that I'm getting at.
The point you're making is that there's no causal link between just having a woman there and then an increase in the market value. Yes, and I've already said that you cannot prove a causal link one way or another when it comes to social sciences. So what you have to do is look at the correlative data. And the more and more correlation you have, the more reasonable and rational it becomes to come to a certain conclusion. In this regards, when we have study after study after study, and then, your one study shows just a neutral result, that shows that having women and diversity benefits the company as regards to innovation, then that means it is more reasonable to take the position that having diversity and having women on that company board benefits the company overall. It's a positive correlation, dude. Hello? Did you cut out?
It says I have this big red bar at the top.
Okay. Yeah, I stopped hearing you for a minute there.
Anyways, I already said this. I literally already said this.
Okay, then we have nothing else to argue with, dude, about.
Well, we have a lot more to argue about because I had a lot more points to bring up.
Well, then bring up more points tomorrow because I have another debate that I was supposed to be at 8:30, and it's almost 9.
What are you debating at 8:30?
I'm debating Mayo, the little Timmy guy.
I don't know who that is. Oh, I got someone wanted me to ask you this question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. It better not be a slur, please. Respect the PS.
No. It's not going to be a slur. Will you ever debate Sean Last?
Sean Last?
Yes.
Who is that again?
Let me find his YouTube for you. Somebody
send me his link and I'll let you know. I don't know. I'll check out his channel and I'll get back to it.
He's the really big race realist guy with the.
Okay.
This guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd want to. I'm not sure if I would want to debate a race realist until I do far more research because that's a topic that I'm not particularly super well versed in.
Far more research? Didn't you make a whole video about the topic, Hunter?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, dude.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a lot of time. So you were less educated on the topic when you made the video.
2.5 years ago, I scripted a video. I would need to do more research before actually engaging in a debate. Yes, that's how this works. I don't know if you. Well, actually, I know you don't understand how this works, but that's how it works. Either way, okay. Bruh, I appreciate the conversation. Either way, I kind of feel like you proved my point more than anything else. But let's talk tomorrow if you want to.
All right, that sounds good. When are you going to be streaming tomorrow?
I stream from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., but I'm also going to be smoking weed and chilling. So if you want to talk early, we can. Because
didn't you just do a whole? Was it before I joined you shitting on weed?
I was talking about the negative effects of heavy weed use. Yeah. I still smoke weed once or twice a week. That's not really heavy weed use.
That's cringe.
Okay. Well, you're cringe. No, you. All right, either way, thanks so much, man, and let's talk tomorrow, I guess. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.